I don't think too many people would disagree that Lady Farnese Vendemian is perhaps the most explored and developed character next to Guts himself. The Golden Age arc gave us two amazing, complex characters alongside Guts with Casca and Griffith. However, post-Golden Age, Casca has been stricken silent with the emotional capabilities of a child due to the traumatic regression that she experienced. This is part of the tragedy of her character, and the tragedy of Griffith is him relinquishing his humanity for the opportunity of a demonically divine continuation of his dreams and ambition. You could say that all three of these characters were transformed after the Golden Age. Casca to her regressed state, Griffith to Godhand, and Guts into darkness so deep that his own inner beast manifested into the Beast of Darkness. All three of them are tragic characters. Farnese, on the other hand, is a character we witness take an opposite kind of arc, introduced as the leader of the Holy See Knights, and put into power by her father, whom really didn't know what else to do with her. Farnese had all the status, power, and beauty that a young woman could want in a quote-unquote medieval times era. All she had to do was be a good girl and let herself get married off someday. Everything would have been handed to her and taken care of. But it was a false, empty existence where she felt no connection or understanding towards anyone or anything. Locked away in a mansion, free to do whatever she desired, but alone. At last she found her way towards the attention that she sought, and to be praised and adored by the adults and to be accepted by them, partially due to joining in on the burning of heretics. She also had to repress her natural bodily desires, such as her sexuality, punishing herself whenever she would sway away from that. Deeply she threw herself into the entity that was the Holy See, and here people would accept her. Here people would care and look up to her and give her attention, and she wouldn't be ignored. But it was a mask that she wore the entire time. She played the part of the Holy See commander, and she played the part of the heretic hunter. She displayed her power over others and sat back allowing men and women to be burned or tortured, all to find a place where she belonged. I know this is a very simplistic recap of Farnese's character, but the point is, we begin her arc with her nearing her lowest point. And ever since the fall of the Tower of Conviction, Farnese has been building herself up to be a better person. This time, not just wanting to be accepted, but wanting to learn the truth about the world. Wanting to open herself up to all the ideas and possibilities that were out there, and to unlock herself from the closed doors that the Holy See and the Vendemian family shut her in, and finally find freedom in that learning and understanding. Even opening herself up to the idea of magic and how someone who once dominated and persecuted others could be redeemed themselves and become a protector. To think that Farnese from Volume 14 of Berserk could, now in Volume 36 of Berserk, not only be open to the idea of using magic, but to be actively doing it herself, by herself, and becoming the key defense protector of an entire warship. To enter into the astral world and call upon strength from the most powerful entities therein, the Elemental Kings. Farnese embracing her spiritual side in an honest and true, unjudgmental way, not with force, but with asking the source to channel their immense power for the sake of her friends. And she manages to do it. She is allowed. She's granted permission. Farnese has progressed into a true witch, if I do say so myself. The shining bright light engulfs the Seahorse warship, and just like when Shirake protected the church during the troll battle, but this force field is much bigger than that one. Not to suggest that Farnese is more powerful than Shirake in any way, but it's just more confirmation on how far she has come. Everyone is astounded, and she is thanked by them all, and of course, the thanks with the most meaning comes from this big hunk of a man, of Guts. Shirake then prepares to go with Guts to the Sea God Cave. This way she can connect with him on an astral level and keep him sane while the Berserker armor takes over. She even says that she won't let him go berserk. Shirake, title drop in the series there so casually. I see you. Guts allows the armor to activate, and Shirake does her best to restrain the beast within Guts from overtaking his ego. Done with this really cool imagery here of her little fingers basically literally ripping back the darkness around Guts' eyes. She even notices that the ode of the beast within is even more aggressive than it was last time, as if it's just looking for a chance to fight and to kill, for which can assume happens every time Guts senses an evil being. That's part of the post-eclipse tragedy of his character that I mentioned before. With that, Shirake's body falls limp off of Guts' back as she is completely focused in the astral world connected to Guts' consciousness. This puts Guts' helmet into the Batman mode. I'm still not a fan of this design, you guys. I'm sorry. But he jumps off the ship towards the cave, and as he leaves, the Moonlight Boy still aboard the ship watches him closely. Upon entering the cave, even Guts can sense its darkness, feeling as though it's even darker than Clipote? I don't know. Clipote? Clipote? Did I say it right that time? I got no friggin' idea. Anyway, inside the cave, there are some big slug motherfuckers, and yeah, the pirate douche shows up again. He mouths off for a bit, and then introduces the sea god itself. And the sea god is certainly intimidating, but design-wise, I don't know, it's pretty much just a giant mouth, with lots and lots and lots of tentacles. I don't know what I was expecting when I first read this, but I was thinking about all these crazy mythological sea creatures in my head. The Kraken, Scylla, Charybdis, Cthulhu. But instead we have Mouth Boy. And look, I'm not discrediting everything that's about to happen. I'm just saying that the design surprised me due to its simplicity. But maybe keeping it basic actually works to its benefit. However you think about the design of the sea god itself, the question still remains, how do you fight something that is so massive? At least with Ganishka's Shiva form, he was up against an entire army. Here we have one Guts. And Guts just says, we go forward. Using the increased agility the armor allows him, Guts springs forth looking to jump right into the creature's mouth and kill it from the inside out. The pirates then decide, well, he's so fucking crazy he's gonna die anyway, so let's just go kill everybody else on the ship instead. Inside the mouth, Guts goes, and if Berserk wasn't fucked up enough, you can now add Vor to its list of inclusions. Just please don't go look that up, please. Anyway, after sliding down its throat... God, what am I writing here? After sliding down its throat, Guts arrives somewhere inside the sea god, seeing dozens of destroyed and swallowed ships, like a graveyard. You might be thinking, how does Guts even see now? I assume a combination of the Berserker armor enhancement and Shirike's guidance, and there's also a casual comment Guts makes about it being lightly glowing inside the creature. As some sea creatures do have a glow to them, I guess Mouth Boy is included in it. They begin to hear what they think at first is cannon fire from the ship above, but realize it's actually the heartbeat of the creature itself. Guts plans to cut his way to the heart and pierce it. But first he needs to not only escape the dissolving stomach acid, but also these giant insect-like parasites living inside the sea god. Yeah, it's super freaking gross. What did you expect? Miura was not going to just put us inside the belly of a gigantic monster and not make it disgusting. Oh well, I still don't think it tops the Troll Den in its nastiness, but it's a solid attempt. Meanwhile, Captain Roderick is informed of the oncoming demonic pirate ship heading towards them. And we all know Roderick is a motherfucking boss, and he won't let any harm come to his crew, especially his beloved Farnese. No, you don't understand. Even if the English translation is wrong, the intent is there. Roderick calls Farnese a goddess in command of angels. Oh my god, this man. I want these two to kiss so bad. Fuck, I would kiss Roderick. Roderick, you're so awesome. Look at that smile. Look at those sideburns. What guy do you know that can actually rock sideburns? That's right, Roderick can. Roderick orders the cannons to fire, blasting into the slugs. They surge forward still, but with Farnese's barrier up, it works like a charm, burning up any of the slug bastards that try to get too close. The only loophole, just as when we saw the spell used before, is that it can only prevent evil astral beings from entering. Anything from the physical world still can. So the pirates rise their ship right up on the Seahorse's deck and crash over top of it. And I guess the loophole also applies to the pirates themselves, as they are humans turned into monsters. The human side would still be from the physical world, and thus they're allowed through the force field. So that means that it must be their actual physical bodies that were assimilated into pieces of the tentacles, and not a piece of the tentacle with the souls of the dead pirates, in case that needed any clarification. I know it probably didn't, but there it is. So all our characters start to battle. Roderick and his crew, Serpico, Isidro, Azan still failing miserably at hiding his identity and calling himself the Black Mustache Knight. Oh well, he still wants to wear his own variation of the Cone of Shame, but I'd say helping defend the ship from demonic pirates is honorable enough to remove it. The ones that need to be protected the most are Shirike's body, Casca, and assumingly the Moonlight Boy. But as we've seen before, the boy probably is more powerful than anyone else here. Okay, yes, then we have Isidro versus Bonebeard himself, and it's technically a rematch since Isidro faced him back in Britannis when he was a human, and it is semi-important as it shows Isidro's improved skills since then and how he's been slowly integrating all of Guts' advice into his fighting, from finding his own style and using his shorter height to his advantage. And we also get the tag team of Isma actually helping him by throwing something, a protractor, I don't know what it is. But she throws it right into the pirate's head, so that's some pretty good aim. And you know, it's kind of cute. And with her helping in that moment, it gives Isidro the idea to light the small bombs and throw them into the mouths of the tentacles. The pirates begin to all catch on fire and are forced to retreat yet again. Just kill them already! Whatever, it's a minor victory, and yes, we do have to primarily thank Isidro with the help of Isma. The whole crew praises their win, though with a special shout out to Farnese from Roderick, who crowns her the guardian of the seahorse and the goddess of victory. Seriously, Farnese, what more do you need? I know he's not like Guts, but oh well. Jokes aside though, we know that that's what it is. Speaking of her development, as I did earlier, we cannot deny the impact of Guts, the Black Swordsman, in what he's done for Farnese's life. To view him as her savior in a way, and one whom guided her towards the truths of the world, has protected her at every turn, and had faith in her even so much as to specifically returning to get her after she decided to leave the group one time. She can't help herself but be attracted to him, and really nobody can blame her. Back inside the Sea God, Guts jumps high enough to cut a hole into the top of the stomach area, which causes air pressure to lift them through it and into the next area of the body. I'm not sure what to say about this. It is pretty clever. It's also clever that it was Guts that thought of it. I don't know, maybe he learned something from watching Pippin. Guts makes his way to the heart following the pounding sounds, and when arriving, he sees it's probably close to 3 stories high. The air around it is thick, causing Guts difficulty breathing, and the intensity of the beating itself causes vibrations that continually push him back. I really like this. Think about how powerful a muscle of the heart would be for a monster that huge. This is its power source, and that power is felt even through the Berserker armor meant to cut off negative sensations to the body. Suddenly, the pounding of the heart gets even faster and more powerful, and enough to knock Guts right off his feet. This is because outside the cave and the island, first noticed by the Moonlight Boy, and then the rest of the crew, a piece of the island begins to crumble into the sea, breaking away as the Sea God rises. Finally fully able to physically break from its island prison, it comes crashing out of the side of the island, dwarfing the warship with its arrival. Inside the Sea God, dozens of large sea parasites and monsters, things that use the Sea God for their own nourishment, notice Guts and barrel towards him, all looking like nasty worms, squids, and other bizarre sea life. So Guts will now not only have to cut through all of them, but actually be able to stand and get close enough to pierce the heart of the Sea God. And before I end on this segment, I want to touch on the notion of filler. As I stated in part 1 of the Fantasia arc, there are a lot of fans that regard the Sea God segment as a filler story. But I want to lay at least what I think are some narrative purposes for this portion of the story out. One is, like I started this video, is solidifying the full extent of Farnese's development. Yes, she had development in Vertanis when she re-met with her family and contemplated returning to her old life, but here in the new world of Fantasia, it shows who Farnese has become, and that despite those feelings of shame, uselessness, or wanting to regress, how she pushed forward into who she is now. It also solidifies the new Fantasia world of Berserk. After the blast of the astral world Femto let out, the Sea God now shows us just how different the world is, even so much as awakening ancient gods. And it shows the difficulty of Guts maintaining who he is within the Berserker armor. See, he needed Shirake to go with him in order to ensure that he didn't lose himself, meaning that he is still incapable or not confident enough that he would be able to do it by himself and stay in that state. This is huge regarding to where the Fantasia arc is heading, and still heading in the unfinished manga in the newest chapters. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents about it. Join me next time in part 4, where we will finish the Sea God portion of the story, and it's going to get pretty crazy. And also, I want to plug a website called chattytube.com, which was actually set up by one of my Patreon supporters. It is a website where you can go, and it basically acts like a social media forum. You can talk about different things. There's categories for anime and manga and things like that. It's pretty easy to navigate and figure out. You can browse various categories, engage in different posts. You can ask questions and get answers, have discussions back and forth. It kind of works, I guess, like a Discord or like a Reddit, where you can basically have these different categories and talk about whatever you want with other fans. There's music, movies, and stuff like that too, TV shows and gaming and all that. I'm pretty sure it's mostly anime and manga fans, but that doesn't mean that there's also not a lot of other things that you can talk about there. It's a newer forum, so you might want to join early. That way you're one of the first people to kind of get on here. Or just to show support to your fellow anime and manga fans that are out there trying to do their own thing. I think that would be pretty cool. You can just sign in through your Google account, so it's super easy to join, and then you can just kind of discuss whatever you feel like with other fans. So go ahead and check it out. Like I said, ChattyTube, the link will be in the description below for these guys. I believe they also have a Twitter too. I'll try to put that link in the description too, in case you have any more questions on what it could all be about. But with all that out of the way, guys, like I said, thank you for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Please like the video, comment, subscribe if you want to stick around and see some more. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you in the next video.